Meeting in order, if everybody would stand for the pledge. In allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic one nation under God, indivisible. Roll call. Clint. We'll do roll call. Oh, sure I didn't leave you out. Chris Chandler. Chris just texted, he wasn't gonna be able to be here. Daniil Decker.
Here.
Councilman Ricky Durgan.
Here, sir.
Councilman Bill Coon, who will no longer be serving with us, but we do have someone I'll introduce here shortly on that. Janet Moses.
Here.
Commissioner Tim Murphy.
Here.
Janet Patel.
Here.
Ketna Patel.
Here.
Chris Wynn.
Here.
We do have a quorum, so that's a good thing.
Okay, any additions or deletions?
We have none.
Okay, I'll seek a motion to approval of the agenda as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Motion, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. Okay, discussion items. Clint, you know, I'll approve this one. Approval of the minutes of the September 18th, 2024 meeting. As in your packet. Seek a motion for approval.
I'll move to approve. Second.
Got a motion in a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Okay, bed tax, Smith Travel.
Okay, on the bed tech, the Smith Travel Report, it's up on the screen up there for everybody to see. We finished the year out really good, even though we had some lows, throughout the year, which you'll see in a minute on one of the other pages. But, I'm happy to announce for, this year, fiscal year 2024, over last year, we're up 3.97%. We've collected, 2.2 million in bed tax. So overall, we did very well on that.
No questions? Year-end financial review.
Okay, let me go to this start off. On the occupancy rates, you can look up here, we're actually down on everything, on our average daily rate, RevPAR and everything, but a lot of that is associated with, the hurricanes we had this year. As everybody knows, we were in the path, on some of those, so that was a big influencer on that because we didn't even have the power company stay here for some of that. So that's what caused most of that to be down. But again, overall for the year, we are still doing very well. This just, reflects that time period when those hurricanes were coming in.
So, October will probably be better.
Yeah, it should spike back up. And these reports usually are a month behind anyway. So we'll see an increase hopefully over the next one.
All right, no questions for Clint. The financial review, I'll have to have a motion, seek a motion there for approval.
I'll do it. Make a motion.
Got a motion from Daniil.
Second.
Second, I think. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Okay. Here.
Okay.
Well, there are two of them.
Because the year end of.
Okay. All right. Number 4, I guess it is, there are financial reports. I need a motion for it also. That's the monthly one, correct? Yes. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Yes, motion in a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Okay,
Okay.
TDC calendar, this is
our meeting calendar for 2025. It's in you guys' packet. It's also up here on the screen. Michelle spent a lot of time going over this, and her and I communicated back and forth on these dates to try to get the best dates that didn't interfere with graduation and, baccalaureate and all the different things going on in the community. So January 15th, March the 26th, and then we get to Wednesday, May the 21st or the 28th. I want to go over that with the board. CHS graduation is May the 23rd, the baccalaureate is May the 22nd. So if we go with the 21st date, you're right there in the middle, there's a bunch of stuff going on there. The 28th we looked at, it is closer to the end of the month, but it doesn't interfere with CHS or Fort White and their activities. So it'd be my recommendation that we choose the 28th, but I wanted to give the board that option, if y'all have some ideas or, for some reason want to stick with the 21st. And then of course, August the 20th, September the 17th, and November the 19th. That wraps us up before the holidays in November. So does anybody have any preferences on the May date, 21st or 28th?
28th is good. It's after Memorial Day. It's kind
We ran into this last year too, didn't we? Yeah.
of, well, it's not as big of a deal now. That's first thing in the morning. It was just the afternoon. So that was nice.
All right, well, we'll circle the 28th. If everybody is good with that, I would entertain a motion that we accept the 2025 TDC meeting calendar.
I'll make a motion to accept the calendar.
Second.
Got motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Okay. Go ahead, Clint.
The next couple things on here, you've all heard me mention and talk about them several months back, even some of it as far as a year back. And I told the board that I would come back with the numbers once we had everything, finalized. The first one on here is a $750,000 match. If you'll recall, we got the $750,000 legislative appropriation to start off phase one of the 500-acre facility. We had discussed the TDC doing a match way back up to the $3 million mark that was originally asked for. But we were fortunate enough to get the $750 from the legislative. So what I'm asking for here, because it was not put in this year's budget cycle, that we approve the $750,000 match to come out of TDC reserves to the expenditure account, so we can start the survey and permitting and everything for phase one of the 500-acre facility.
This is more or less a housekeeping procedure where it was just overlooked, I guess, during the budget cycle. But all these monies have been approved prior, and definitely the monies that are in reserves from TDC. So with that being said, I'll seek a motion for approval as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion by Chris and second by Kitten. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. All right.
Okay, the next one here also, like Mr. Murphy said, is a housekeeping deal. This one I promised you guys I would bring you back an actual number depending on what the money we had left from the Southside project. We put the covering of the RC track on hold because of what Swanee River Water Management was having to do with retention ponds. Obviously, we've talked about moving that RC track to the Lake Jeffrey property in order, we're missing races left and right. And the only way to do that, to get those people to come is to, do a cover track like we had originally discussed. I have $257,000 left that we were able to keep in the kitty from the Southside improvements, which was earmarked for the covering on the RC track. I'm asking the TDC the number 250,000 to do that match so we can relocate that RC track and start getting the races and all coming back to Lake City.
Clint, where is that going to be actually positioned at right there?
Where the dollar store is across
Yeah.
from Millennium, we have what we call the Lake Jeffrey practice fields there now.
Yeah.
The fire department's doing some expansion on the front corner of that. On the back corner of that, where the woods start, is all part of the 500-acre property that we have. We want to position it next to that open field for a couple reasons. We'll have plenty of extra parking and stuff whenever we have races, but when they're not racing, we can use that covered pavilion for other events. And they can set up lawn chairs and all in that open grass field. You know, if we have a concert or any other kind of event under that covered deal, we'll have a lot of open space around it.
So the fire station's here more over towards Dollar General, I'm understanding.
Dollar General behind where the practice football field is.
Okay.
And we'll have a conceptual drawing of that. Spoke with the engineer yesterday. We'll do a conceptual layout of that so I can show you guys, you know, what it's going to be. But again, we didn't have anything in the budget this year, because I told you guys I'd bring the number back to you, but there was not a line item set up like there should have been. So that's why I'm asking to approve the amount now.
Okay, with that being said, I'll seek a motion to approve.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
All right, before we vote on, I'm good with it, but you talked about retention ponds. If, this is probably down the road, but if we're having to put in some retention ponds, could we talk to Fish and Wildlife about maybe turning those into fishing amenities, you know, so we can kind of, you know,
Yes.
do double things there,
And
potentially.
and to expand on that a little bit, Chris, we have, in the past, when we started setting up the 500-acre layout, that was one of the things that we had discussed that we wanted to permit and do from the beginning so that we could dual utilize, if it's a retention area, also make it an educational fishing area and, you know, have the areas to where we can do that. So we've kind of incorporated that in, you know, throughout the plan. So hopefully not only at that location, but some of the others, you know, the main facility will have that ability.
Got a motion? Got a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Okay, the next one here is a funding request. You guys know we have agencies, 501c3s and sporting groups that want to come to our community, and a lot of this requires us to, you know, we have to pay to get them here. But in return, we get the big economic impact out of it. We get people staying in hotels for 3 or 4 days or even longer, depending on what the tournament is. This is something new that Chris has been working on, and he can expound on a little bit. But we also have Lane and Alan from Airstream here today, who is one of our partners that helps promote Columbia County on these different events. So at this time, I'd like to have them talk about this a little bit before we get into the amount and what the board would like to approve to get these events here. But Alan or 21.
I'll just stand right here so it makes it. Good to meet everybody. Thanks for having us real quick. Just a little bit about Airstream Ventures. We're a sports marketing company. We have really enjoyed our partnership with you guys. It's been, you know, we've worked with a bunch of different people in a short amount of time, but we love working with Clint, and now Chris has come on board. He really understands the vision of sports tourism. You've had a vast just sports tourism program with baseball and softball for a long time, and obviously some soccers. We were brought on to really expand that portfolio outside of the sports. We did just work with Chris and Clint on a Prospect Wire baseball event last weekend that had several hundred kids come and play in a couple of different age groups. So our goal, and we're out talking, we work with about 60 different events rights holders all over the country, from national governing bodies of Olympic sports to baseball tournaments, to softball, whatever. And so we've got some softball that are coming as well that Clint and Chris are working with us on. But lacrosse is, we hosted a smaller lacrosse event last year, I guess, and it went really well, except for it rained, I think, unbelievably. But we work with a company called Florida Prep Lacrosse. They, like everybody, the swoosh is a powerful brand in almost every sport, right? And so the swoosh has found its way into lacrosse. They do a big event and showcase in December every year, and they've done it in a different part of the South. We started working with them and convinced them, would you please bring your Nike Elite Showcase to Lake City? We got great fields there. We got great facilities, we got great hotels, got great restaurants. just give us a chance. And so they said, absolutely, we'll do that. Pending we need a grant. So they do a couple of these all over the South. And so we've been able to grab one that they do from a different community here to Lake City to play on the fields there. It's about 600 kids. They're some of the top lacrosse players in the South. So most of them that will be coming here will be going to play Division I and Division II lacrosse. There'll be college coaches coming in from all over the country, recruiting and all these kinds of things with the players. So it'll put Lake City and it'll put us, meaning all of us collectively, on a big map with Nike. So a lot of Nike representatives will be coming in here that really foster the sport of lacrosse and different sports within the Nike portfolio. So, they just come to us. We've said we would love to bring this event. If it goes well, they would love to make it a home. It's in December, which I'm sure for the hoteliers in here is a nice need period. And so we will be working with Chris. Chris has talked to the event rights holder, be working on hotels, all of that kind of stuff. This is it's not really a hope and see. It's an event that has happened for a while that they're just bringing to this community. But Lane Teitelbaum is our director of sports tourism. We talk to probably within a given month, 40 to 60 event rights holders, and really pitching different roads, different flat fields, different baseball, softball, whatever it is. And I think we're getting some traction. Chris has been an unbelievable addition. You have a huge asset there. I know y'all know that you have a huge asset in Clint, and he is one of our favorites. And so, except we don't recognize him today because he's normally wearing a cowboy hat. Anyway, but that is the request. That is what our company does. We're over here a decent amount. We talk to Chris every week. And so we're just excited about this opportunity, but also just the more and more coming in the future.
There's no event scheduled right now, right?
It is scheduled.
It is already scheduled.
It is on the schedule, and everything's been booked. Everything has been promoted because it can't, with it being an elite program like that, they had to go in and get it. So it's basically,
December?
it is this December. Yeah. And so what ends up happening is it's not like your typical youth event that they know about, and it's the elite players coming in from the different age groups. So they are just now being selected as a Nike all-star, if you will. So they'll start booking, they'll start doing all that kind of stuff.
I can hear a little bit, I kind of,
I didn't want to.
I'm getting kind of old now. Like I used to. Mr. Chair, you have some questions or what? Okay. So you're bringing these teams and this big time organization, Nike, so forth and so on for the lacrosse. So what is the city and the county getting out of this? What are we getting out of this? Is it just the exposure? You're getting monies at the hotels, the restaurants. So we're bringing in these major companies to put Columbia County and Lake City on the map. Am I correct?
All the above. I mean, that is the thing. And I think what'll happen is when, we officially announce this Nike Florida Prep Lacrosse event is coming to Columbia County and Lake City, people are going to go, okay, that's great. What's going on there? And so in the sports world, in the sports tourism world, it's going to create a lot of momentum for us that says, well, we can host this here, so you need to bring this event here. And people pay attention to that. But they'll be coming in, they'll be booking rooms, they'll be, eating in restaurants. They'll be here for a couple of days. Plus, I think it as we've talked about with Chris and Clint, it creates that momentum on a national platform that maybe we haven't had in different sports too.
And where you from? Yes, sir. Where you from?
Jacksonville. We live in Jacksonville.
Okay.
Yeah. So just straight down I-10.
So how many, I don't know much about lacrosse, so forgive my ignorance on some of these questions. Like, how many people are typically on a team? Like, how many people, like, are you thinking that are gonna come and stay?
Great question. So this is more of a, it's teams, but it's more like a showcase. So they're coming as individuals, being
Okay.
seen as selected by Nike and all that, being seen and playing for college coaches. So you'll have college coaches, big names coming here from all over the South and like Notre Dame. Notre Dame won the national championship in men's lacrosse last year. The Notre Dame, probably not head coach, but assistant coach will be down here. So we'll have some big name teams that'll be here. And it's a showcase. So they'll be doing different skill sets, different things, and then they'll put them into teams and they'll play games so that they can see them in different situations. So it's not necessarily 8 teams coming from South Carolina and 6 coming from this. It's more of a elite showcase kind of thing.
For most of the people coming from Florida? Or?
No, they'll be coming from all over the South.
How does this event, how do we promote that? Now, do you do advertising, promotions? What media do you use?
Yeah, so they have major followings within, obviously social media is a huge thing now. So they have major followings on all their different platforms. They'll be tagging, there'll be all this stuff that we have a marketing person that does all that I don't 100% understand, but they'll be working with Chris and the marketing team here to make sure that, everything's promoted about Lake City, Columbia County, all those kinds of things on the website where people are going to sign up for this. Once they're selected, will be everything about what there is to do here, because there will be downtime. So it's not just they're at the field the entire day. The things that you can do here, all those kinds of things. They also know that you've got to stay in the county, that you're not going to book hotels outside the county because of bed tax of what you just, the report you just got. So.
Yeah, I saw that page up here. It says Florida Pre-Tax. That's the website?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
Because their website doesn't have much presence.
Because they're waiting on this event. They were waiting for
Okay.
the funding
Because
mechanism.
if you go through the history, then there's not much presence online. Even on Instagram, maybe 1,000 or something.
Right. The good news is within theirs, they don't have the big numbers, but within the lacrosse world, they have the right numbers. And then when you tag that with Nike lacrosse and all that, they'll be.
This grant that they're asking for, this is what they use to do their promotion, I guess you'd say. And when does lacrosse season end in high school in Florida?
So the high school season is in the spring. It mirrors baseball,
Okay.
Baseball, softball, the spring sports. Like anything else with youth sports, it's year round. I think we all know that. So within the world of lacrosse and in working with Florida Prep Lacrosse, they want to bring more and more events here. And so I think there could be, and we want to sit down with Chris and them and work on an overall lacrosse strategy that would be on an annualized basis. But the actual high school event, high school season's in the spring. So they're not allowed to play club from the beginning of March until May because they're focused on the high school season. So they'll do, we won't have anything during those months, but then we'll work looking at, the fall and summer, but then we've got soccer. So it's just a scheduling stuff to see what we can open, but they'll be using the funds for, all the things that are based on the criteria with, helping with expenses, helping with, officials, because they have to get officials in here. It is a big thing within the showcases that you help pay for some of the college coaches' expenses to get here or their hotel or something like that. So anything that is permissible within the grant guidelines, they would be doing that.
And 2 on these things, and we discussed it briefly a couple times. All of these sports is kind of outside of what consider the norm, baseball and softball. Those, a lot of them are bid type events, and not this one so much, but a lot of these events, Chris has been in contact with some folks. if you have and I'm just going to use soccer for an example, because that's one that pops into my mind. Some of these big soccer tournaments, they may approach us to have the event here. They may approach somebody in Central Florida. Well, they're asking all of those locations for funding. Well, if Columbia County said, well, we're only going to give you $10,000, and Tampa says, well, we'll give you $15,000, they're going to go to Tampa. So it's kind of a bidding war also in order to get them here. So to bring people in hotels and, provide that economic impact, a lot of times as we expand in sports, there's going to be these basically bidding or grant opportunities that, we got to try to get them here. So it's going to cost money to do that.
And we're not bringing, we talk to a lot of people every week, and there's some, like Spartan is a big brand, national global brand that we work with. They wanted to maybe look at doing an event here, but they needed $100,000. Well, we know that that's not probably feasible nor smart use of our money. So we say, great, go somewhere else, right? So we know in working with Chris, kind of the guidelines of where we're going to be in a amount. Realizing that this is a bigger amount. So we try to find, Lane and I try to find groups that don't want anything, and just want to come spend. Unfortunately, in the world of sports tourism now, communities come up with so much, and it's this pay to play model. And so what we do is through all of our relationships, we're weeding out the ones that want 50 to 70 to 100,000 and really focusing in on those that don't want anything to probably 20, 25,000, and then bringing it to you based upon the ROI and based upon the exposure we're going to get. Lacrosse is a sport that basically from in the South is booming, and in the state of Florida is booming. And so maybe not like pickleball, but it's booming. And so, we're trying to find those events that really work well for the community, that don't cost a ton of money, but they do deliver on that sweet spot of value, exposure, economic impact, and investment.
When you say 20K, right? So would you go over the 20K, or would it be less? Where would that money go if you only spent, let's say 18,000? Would the 2,000 go back to the?
It would. Yeah. So if they go over, and they're going to spend more than $20,000 on this event, but they only get up to the 20. Or if they spent, now they may spend some that are not in the guidelines that are permissible to be reimbursed. So this is a reimbursable grant.
Okay.
And so if they only spent $16,000 that was permissible by the grant, they'd only get $16,000. So you would be approving up to $20,000 of expenses.
Okay,
that's correct.
And that's all of the grants that we do, whether it's for Lusty or, any of the different ones that we do, those are all reimbursable grants. So if they don't provide the information back to Chris or Michelle that's required in that paperwork,
yes, sir.
The receipts that they spend on advertising and marketing and doing all that, whatever they provide back to us, if they only provide us $5,000 that they can prove and show us, then that's all they're going to get. But it's basically a not to exceed $20,000 based on what they return to us.
Just as a point of reference, what do we usually spend on, and I know it's a different sport, but if we're bringing in some of these other groups, what is, I don't know, is $20,000 average? Is that a lot? Is that a little?
I would say that's average in the business right now. Here locally, I think probably our Babe Ruth state championships with 10 or 15,000 is what we normally do for them. Started out at 10 several years ago, but as it grew, I think we're up to 15 now. So that $10,000 to $20,000 range is what we're going to see more and more of as we go into this.
And I would say, I know y'all know this, but Joe is one of the most detailed people we work with. And so it's really helpful when it comes to all this kind of stuff. You got a great one here. It's really helpful because all of these reimbursements and all that, they know it like the back of their hand. So they're working directly with them. So they, if they turn something in and it's not reimbursable, they're going to be able to say, sorry. And so the event holder knows up front. Okay, these are the things you can spend it on. And it makes it a lot easier.
So this is the first event like this in Columbia County?
This type of event, yes, yes.
Last year, the one that he mentioned earlier, the smaller one that we had was some of this same group. But they had an issue at another location. So we at the last minute got them in here and they were here for 2 days. They got rained out part of the second day, but you know, they brought several people in town last year for this same deal. Now this year they want to advertise it and actually promote it here, so they can host it full time here.
It's the soccer fields are the ones we play, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Chris, I don't know if you had a question.
Yeah, can I jump in real quick? Just a little bit of I think more of a comment, brainstorming with the board here, not necessarily pressure, you know, on the hot seat up there, but from that marketing standpoint, heard you talk about that. That's really good to hear about marketing, other things that, you know, folks can do while they're here. From an experience standpoint, we've got 2 boys that are in travel ball. We go all over the place. And I'll give you an example. We went to Brunswick, Georgia, a couple months ago. And the very first thing we do as parents is like, what can we do in Brunswick? You know what I mean? Oh, wow, there's kayaking, there's fishing, you know what I mean? And we rarely get anything from, you know, from the marketing standpoint of here's what you can do. We're having to go and find it. And I was just going to kind of infuse maybe a thought down the road or during this grant that as a new board member, I got a really nice Visit Florida booklet, I think, in my welcome packet. And it was nice, you know, to get that. It felt, you know, it felt like I was being welcomed. And if there's a way to, you know, welcome, you know, these folks coming here to Lake City to play and then give them proactively a packet of information. Here's where you can go to the springs, here's the kayaking. I think that would be a wonderful thing to try to do.
Chris, I think you bring up an excellent point. I think it's something Lane and I talk about this a lot. A lot of communities miss out on that. What we found, because we do about 100 and so events all over the country. And what we found is 2 things. 1, some communities do it better than others. But 2, events like this are better because there's individual parent registrations. So we have your email, we have the kids' email, versus when you go play travel ball and it's that team going, they only have the coach. And a lot of coaches don't forward it, don't take the time to do that. Where this is, you're signing up, you know, you're signing up your son or your daughter, and then that email is bouncing right back to you saying, hey, thanks for registration. So now they've collected that email that then they can send out the week before. You're coming to the Nike Elite All-Star. This is, you know, here's the things you can do in Lake City, blah, 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 blah. I think that the challenge is how do we get coaches to forward the information? Because a lot of communities are sending it to the coach because that's the only email they have.
Never get it.
Exactly.
They're focused on other things.
But on this one, you'd be getting it because you'd be signing up your son and daughter.
And Chris, you make a great point. And some of the communities, what they're doing these days are creating an app so like Clay County has My Clay app. So therefore, if you come to their town, you download an app, you have everything that's in Clay County right there on your smartphone. So that is something that potentially down the road could be looked into. So not just for sporting events, but for any visitor who comes to Clay County, Lake City, Columbia County, they have an app that they can download. And before you know it, everything that they need to know within this community is right there at their fingertips. Restaurants, you know, springs, things like that. So that is just an idea for a bigger suggestion.
And we do have, you know, a lot of that stuff now. And
Right.
again, he's correct. Most of the time, the coach is the one getting this information, and it's stuck in his little backpack or his little thing when he walks out from registration. We have, for several years now, for some of our bigger tournaments, our showcase tournaments, TDC, we actually make up packets. And when they register, we hand those packets out. We've also got QR codes that we've done. We post some of them at the fields, but it's also in some of our visitor guides. You know, they can scan that QR code. It takes you to the restaurants, local amenities, hotels. It takes you to all that. So if we can get that to the promoter, which I know Chris has been talking to him about some of that, they will have that information, you know, whenever they register their folks.
They're doing, this organization does a really good job. We're doing a big event with them in North Platte, Nebraska this weekend. They've got about 600 kids. It's not a Nike event. It's just a different type of showcase event. It's going to be a low of 21. So I was stupid enough to say I'm going to go to that event, but leaving tomorrow. But anyway, they're really good about sending out. They're one of our favorite event planners because they're really good about sending the stuff out because they get it. They know that you're investing money into them. Therefore, they're going to invest it. A lot of times with the coaches, they don't know what the deal was, if there was any grant or whatever. This event planner is actually the one receiving the grant. Therefore, he really gets the B2B aspect of it.
Much on this, but I just had a question while you were here. So I have girls and we do competitive cheer.
Okay. Yep.
And so, you know, I am forced to stay in specific hotels more often than I'd like for the whole state of play. So like, I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm like, okay, so if we're going to give this money, I understand it's probably too late for this, but like moving forward, could we not do something like that to say like, even like, if, you know, one of our hoteliers is like, well, I'm willing to give a $5,000 grant, but every single person who comes here has to stay in my specific facility. Could we not come up with something like that?
You could. A lot of the people that we work with aren't state of play. They basically, we provide them the hotels in the area, and then they book their own hotels. Because what we found, we try to stay away from the state of play because what they're doing is they're double dipping. They're asking you to pay a fee, and then they're collecting from the TDC tax that you've also paid too. And so it's a double dip scenario. And we understand a lot of people do that, but I would say 90% of the people that we work with don't use that third party aspect. They go directly to the consumer, which makes it a better deal for the community because you're collecting that tax and you're only having to pay it out through the TDC tax that you just paid, not another fee that they've negotiated with you.
And I feel your pain. I've been there, obviously.
Yeah.
So a lot of times also you work in hotels, just get room blocks. So therefore you get room rates, not necessarily state of play. But obviously when it comes to some parents, some people have allegiance to certain brands of hotels. So they're going to do everything they can to try to find that Marriott or that Hilton as well. But I think just by getting room blocks, room rates, and then passing that along, that can assist as well, because now people are going to say, okay, well, it's $25 cheaper for me to stay here, and I'm going to look at myself down the road. So it kind of entices them to do it that way.
Yeah, we try to stay away from, we do have a few that we work with that are use third party, but we try to stay away from that because it's just not, it's taking more from the community than it should be. Yeah, I have 4 daughters, so I did the whole dance cheer for a long time.
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes, just one other question. I want to ask you one question. I don't think I will. Okay, so lacrosse, you know, you got, I heard her say she's got girls. So is it going to be males? It's going to be females, or it's going to be both? They come in to this event. So I'm really into lacrosse myself. So
Oh, are you really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I love lacrosse.
Oh, that's awesome.
So if it's only for guys that's going to college, what do you have for girls?
So it's a great question. There are separate, this one is just for boys. There are separate girls events that they do for the same exact thing that we are trying to attract here. I think it's the kind of thing, since lacrosse, we have to build that momentum that Lake City is a lacrosse venue. They came here in a short notice last year in a pinch. We didn't give them a grant. Y'all didn't give them a grant, but they were like, those fields were great. It was a great situation. So when he called me about this Nike event, he's like, we had a great situation and a great experience. They loved, Chris wasn't here at the time. They loved working with Clint. And so that was part of it, is they had such a good experience. They came back. Now they have a great experience. Hopefully there's no rain. And we just build on that momentum to bring this exact same thing with girls like the next weekend or the weekend before. So.
I was noticing the dates. It's perfect time because, you know, at this point in time, a lot of people are going to be breaking for for Christmas activity.
Right.
You know? And, but Chris, you're the one that's been dealing with this. Well,
Kind of just like everything they've been saying, I'll just kind of piggyback off of, because some of these newer sports that aren't, I say newer sports, but newer to this area of sports, are kind of looking for that open door. So you gotta, kind of open it up and get them in here and so they can see the field, see the facilities, know that we host more than soccer, we host more than soccer. So, and I get more on that later with other sports and stuff that I've been talking to, but an event like this, just like you mentioned, it's not like the team. So it's not like the Jacksonville Hornets or the Gainesville, like it's a whole bunch of individual athletes coming with their families. So, you got one kid coming, I know they're older kids, high school, some of them probably, trying looking to get to college, but again, they bring their families, and even if they don't, they're obviously in the room on their own or as a group or whatever. So the return on investment for an event like this is good. And, especially when it's going to lead to similar events down the line, because then it's going to hit the bid tax. So that stuff is going to constantly grow. And that number that we just saw, that 2.2 will steady go up. Like I said, in terms of the links and stuff like that, that's actually kind of in the works already. In terms of getting stuff to promotion, that actually was sports-wise hasn't necessarily been done, just like Mr. Chris was talking about. We usually get stuff with that. So again, I'll talk about a little later on with the websites and stuff like that. We're trying to get going and up to it, but that way when those promoters get it, they can have that stuff. I've already circulated our logos and things to them, so they know where they're going to be. And then again, if we get this approved or whatever, obviously their stuff is going to start kind of going out on our social media. We'll start sharing their stuff, vice versa, to get it going. And then again, like I said, it just kind of builds up, because the goal is to get them in here. Once they get in here, it's say in the hotels, when they see the restaurant, now they're eating at the restaurant because it's 3 days. So, they're not just going, some of them might, but some of them are going to get here the day before, just because they might be coming from a greater distance or whatever. And if you ever play a sport, if you can get there a little earlier to acclimate to the area, the better, especially if you're trying to put the best on for college coaches, for Nike. Like I said, it's not like little Timmy coming, they're just trying to be good for the middle school team. These are guys who have committed to their sport, so they're super serious, super focused. So when they get in here, it's going to be a good atmosphere. You're going to have coaches sitting around here. You're going to have athletes that probably trying to look as professional as they could possibly look. So when they come in here, it's going to be a good atmosphere. Like I said, and the reason why I say that because I don't imagine, there are younger kids. You're not going to have somebody that's going to come here and show their tail, downtown, try to get into our bars at 18 years old. Because again, Nike and those bigger colleges, they look at into a situation. If you can't govern yourself, they're not going to bring you probably do it. So again, like I said, it just brings our eyes onto our county, which again opens up to not just other events across, but sports that now see that we can say everything's on our flat fields.
And they can come to a Christmas parade.
Yeah, and then the downtown thing. So again, it creates a whole new revenue stream. So once they come in, they are downtown. That's kind of what we're pushing downtown. Come see this. Come see our local shops. And the same thing. So I think it's definitely a good event. It definitely open doors. It's like still a recognition. Again, obviously, it's obviously for multiple events, not just for the one and done, and we're down the road. And, hey, what can we do? Let's get you back here again for the same type of event. That's 600 plus, 700 plus athletes, because again, that's 700 plus room nights that we're doing. That's them, their families, especially if they're bringing mom, dad, brother, sister, all the good things, and they're in our restaurants, the downtown, the downtowns, all that stuff, so it's all, return on investment is very good. So,
Two final things on this. One is, I think Chris brings up a great point. A lot of times with the travel teams, if you have multiple children, you'll say, hey, can you just take them for the weekend because we're going to be over here? So you kind of lose out on some hotel nights versus with this, when they're individuals, mom or dad or both have to bring them. So, because a lot of times you won't know the different people that you're traveling with, the different players. So it's going to force more hotel nights on that same thing. And then the final thing is, when we go around and we talk and we go to these different conventions and there's 500 event planners, y'all need to know there is great, and they know about Lake City baseball, softball. They know that is a hub for that. The downside is they know it's a hub for baseball and softball. We've got to get it to where we're known for a lot more than that. And so that's what we're working with Chris on. That is to, we're trying to get a professional golf tournament here. We're trying to do different things to break out of the mold. Baseball and softball are extremely important, don't get me wrong, but we want to be known for even more events, USA Cycling that we've talked to about coming here, all these types of events that get us into a more fast portfolio.
Okay. Got one input card here, Mr. Wilbur.
Thank you. Stu Loper, Columbia County Observer. I just got a couple of observations and questions. I'm a little confused. It was a good presentation. I guess you're Mr. West.
I am not. No.
You're not.
No.
Who are you? Who are you on?
So my name is Alan Verlander, Lane Teitelbaum with Airstream Ventures. We're the company partnered and contracted with the Tourist Development Council to bring events to the community.
So you work for them, I guess. Is that right?
Correct. The Florida Prep Lacrosse is just the event that we've been working with them to bring here. That's correct.
Thank you. So I'm a little confused. I guess today you want the TDC board, the TDC, the Tourist Development Council, to approve the $20,000. But here it says participants is blank, the attendance is blank. On this page, I noticed this last night when I reviewed the agenda. Overnight stays is 2. I guess that's 2 days in the course of the event. And they're going to contact 1,000 people. Yet there's no material that I can understand that shows how the other 4 tournaments or events stacked up. How many people did they draw? How many people participated? Do we have that any place, or is that just we're flying by the seat of our pants? Because I don't know if it's fair that the board approved this, and this is like in 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. Is that right, Mr. Murphy? This is
December 13th.
It's like coming up like within 3 weeks. So I don't see any backup stuff here. I was just wondering if you guys had any of that, or the TDC board that approves that has any of that material.
Well, if it was my understanding, I think you said that on the, this has not been an event that y'all promoted for the Nike event, correct?
That is correct.
Now, the other ones were tournaments, and one thing I'll emphasize on, because I'm one of the old guys that did the travel thing, the showcases are much different than what you see. We just had this past weekend. And if you've been in the travel ball world, it's black and white difference. It's a different competitive atmosphere, like Chris just elaborated on a few minutes ago. And the sincerity, they're investing in their child for their child's education to advance in that sport, whatever it may be. And then Clint can share with you the first year they were just showcasing girls softball. It was like we were pulling our hairs because they come with blood in their eyes. So I guess what I'm saying and I heard what the next said, and he's right. When you see he looked on Instagram, I think you said, and seen the hits and what have you there. So I understand what Stu's saying, but this is one of them deals that, it's every investment deal you go into, and I hate to tie this to investment, but it is because you're investing in the community. It's a wait and see. I mean, Columbia County doesn't even have a cross team. I did reach out mistakenly and talk to an individual I do business with in Jacksonville, and his 2 grandkids are coming here. And I stumbled upon that. We're talking about this next week. So, but that's what they live. We live baseball. I did. And, but I can't even tell you how many people's on the cross team. But Stu's point is very valid to the point, but at this point in time, I don't think we're so much into the infancy. I don't think there's actually numbers. It's kind of generic at this point, if you want to play.
Commissioner, I think you're right on that. From the standpoint of this is the first time we've ever done an event like this. We do probably about 15 events with them a year on all different times, whether it's a showcase, but not tied to Nike. A showcase, we do a huge event with them, a big team event. We do all kinds of events with them all over the country. I can tell you the reason that we continue to do events with them is because they continue to deliver numbers. You know, our job is dependent, our contract with you is to deliver numbers for you. We're not going to work with and spend our time working with organizations that don't deliver numbers. And so they continue to deliver numbers on these types of events. I think in there, and I don't have the packet in front of me, but it's, you know, they'll have close to 600 kids here. They will be staying 2 to 3 nights, depending upon when they decide to get into town. And so I know that there will be Nike executives coming in from the sport of lacrosse to see this. Again, to have those type of people in our community, to show them around, to meet certain individuals, you know, is huge for us. And the only way that you can kind of do that sometimes is through an event. And so there's perpetual value to that.
But didn't mean to cut you off, Stu, but go ahead and continue if you had any more.
No, if you could just say the name of the company that you're with again?
So that Lane and I are with, we're with Airstream Ventures. And so we're out of Jacksonville, Florida, and we work with you guys to bring sporting events to the area. So yes, that is correct.
So you work with a lot of people trying to get events, not just here.
We work with about 8 different communities around the country. Yeah.
And we get paid from these people.
That's correct. That's correct.
Which I expect we can make a living.
So like the event last week in Prospect Wire Baseball, Lane has a relationship with them and started working and brought that. We've got some with softball, and we're trying to build more and more of the portfolio outside of those 2 sports.
So is that, if I could just ask one more question, Dr. Murphy, so is that always on this shorter notice? This was submitted on October 1st. Announcers is coming here on November, December, whatever date it is.
Yeah, December. So in the sport of lacrosse, I think we each know that have been in sports, each sports have their own culture. And they do the things they're differently, right? And so the sport of lacrosse, when it's a team aspect, these things are planned out a little bit further ahead. When they are showcase events like this, they're planned a little closer together because kids aren't identified, and it would drive me crazy as a parent, but I've already been there, done that. And so they're planned out, hey, you are selected to participate in this event. And if you're in South Carolina, all of a sudden in 2 weeks, now we're going to Lake City. It's just how you work. You don't have a whole schedule for the year like y'all just approved with your TDC meeting.
Right, so you're getting 2 weeks of promotion to promote this event.
Well, you'll be getting more than that because they'll be promoting the event, but then as far as notifications and all that, correct?
2 weeks of promotion. I mean, it's Wednesday already today, right?
Right, Wednesday, the 20th. So it'll be in
2 weeks.
3.5 weeks. Yeah.
Beginning of the Christmas holidays.
But I guess one thing, the reality of it is they won't necessarily need a lot of promotion because if they want to be self-promoted with these coaches, they're coming.
Then it's our job, as Chris pointed out, now we got to, when they get here, we have to share with them, here's all the things you can do.
There's moonlight paddle trip on the Ishitudney on the 14th that I guarantee you some of those kids love to go on. You know what I mean? Their coaches, you know, parents probably won't know unless we push that into them for the parade.
If I may, Clint has something.
Yeah, and this, Stu, may or may not help you some. This, again, the shortness of this is because these guys have really tried to draw another event here. This showcase tournament probably would have happened in another community somewhere. So in order to try to get them to see our facility, these guys have been working and pushing with them, and these folks have decided, okay, well, you know, we'll go to Lake City. So it's taken some of that window that you're talking about out of there, you know, because we're drawing them for the first time to the community. Now, Chris has been working with them, hopefully to do a 3-year, you know, for them to come here for 3 years. So if we can get them on the hook for that next year and the year after that, we'll know about it way ahead of time.
Yeah.
So this being the first time event has also narrowed that window up.
Right, so the bidding war was pretty short that you mentioned at the beginning of the meeting.
Right. So and that's these guys talking to them, trying to get them to come from another community.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And I may, one more thing. These people coming to participate, bring their children and what have you, you'll find, you know, as old as I am, I go to a couple of tournaments out here and I see people that I competed against, their grandma. You know, so my point is that a lot of the participants that live across, you'll see them redevelop ties with, they'll go back to Mandarin and St. Augustine where lacrosse is popular. And then all of a sudden Lake City's on the target because we used to look forward to going to the communities. You know, when you went to Orlando back in the day, that's why we built that facility out here like it is because we play a game here this morning at 8:30 and we'd be 10, 12 miles. Chris probably living it today across the other side of Orange County. You know, it's just the way it was. So it's, you'd be surprised the family network is really, really tight in these types of things. But Chris, I think you have one more thing.
Yeah, and he's right. You know, it is definitely a short notice, a short turnaround, but you know, you also remember too, we're matches. Obviously, they're going to be hitting the gas too on their promotion, on their stuff to make sure everything's being correct. So it's like, hey, we leave here and then there's radio silence, and then hopefully one or two kids will fill up. You know, but I mean, they've already had their stuff open, so kids have already registered. Things are still happening. And once if this is approved or whatever, you know, obviously the gas is going to be hit on their side too in terms of you know their social media presence, things that's going out. You know, the definite lock in on the site that they're going to be at, all you know, the whole 9 yards. So, so like I said, remember that the term will still be there. We're obviously matching what they're supposed to be doing. Obviously, if they don't do it, it doesn't fall within the guidelines of the grant, then they don't get that money. So it's not like we just hand them 20 and then we're out the gate. You know, and they're out the gate. It happens, may happen, may not. If it doesn't, they don't promote or put the stuff that they're supposed to have. Obviously, they don't receive the funds to hosting the event. And again, like I said, it's just about opening doors. So once the doors open, more start coming. And it becomes more promotional for us. Again, our logo is going to be on stuff. Our site's going to be on stuff. And not just through Airstream, but just through our own social media presence that's been kind of lacking, you know, on the sports side of it. So when they start seeing that and they start coming, the promoters will start asking about different things. You know, again, the return on investment for something like this, it definitely has huge possibilities, not just with this one event, but future events down the line with other sports that aren't even connected to this guy, to Tom West or anything else. Because they now see that, hey, they're open for other sports outside of baseball, softball. You know what I mean? So.
Okay, with that, no more questions. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
I'll second. Okay. Kitten, okay, got a motion by Kitten and a second by Mr. Jernigan. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Rudy? Good morning.
Good morning. Rudy Webb with Paradise Advertising. It's so formal over here. Rudy Webb with Paradise Advertising. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here today, and thank you for your continued partnership. First off, I want to take you through the 2025, fiscal year 2025 marketing plan. This is going to be a 30,000-foot presentation. Be happy to answer any questions that you have. Hopefully I'll know the answers, but if not, we'll get back to you with them for sure. Before I get started, I just want to say, looking back at 2024, it was quite a year, right? We went through quite a bit with some of the obstacles that just seeing some of the tax collections and the numbers is, you know, that's something to be very proud of. We represent a number of destinations around the country, and it's a competitive market. And a lot of our Florida destinations are down a little bit this year, looking back at 2023 to show some positivity of almost 4% growth year over year is something to be proud of. So congratulations on that. And I can't thank Michelle and Clint enough for your support. I don't think we'd be here today if we didn't have the support of both of you. So appreciate the relationship and the partnership. It is a true partnership. It takes a village, right? So when we look at 2025, obviously, we want to continue that momentum that we've already started. I think we laid a lot of groundwork in 2024 with what we built, some of the foundation elements for tourism marketing, and we want to continue that momentum. So obviously, we want to continue to increase tax collections. We want to promote the destination as a year-round spot. We know that we have some peaks and valleys in our occupancy and visitation. We want to make sure that we're promoting the destination year-round so we can keep those shop owners and restaurateurs and hoteliers happy throughout the year. We want to drive repeat visitation. For example, if we've got an event coming in, a sports event, whether it's baseball or softball or lacrosse, there's an opportunity to impress that family, to get them to come back and spend maybe another weekend with us sometime other in another part of the year. So there's an opportunity to drive repeat visitation, and we'll work with the team now that Chris is on board in order to promote this destination as people are experiencing it for the first time. Social media is obviously everywhere. It's a big part of everyday life for us. We want to make sure that we continue to provide relevant content that hits the right people and promotes engagement. It's not just about the volume of people that are seeing it, but are they interacting it? Are they sharing it? Are they reposting it? So we want to make sure that it's usable content. This year, we're really going to focus on first-party data, and not everybody in this room may understand quite what that means. Is we carry this with us pretty much everywhere we go. It doesn't leave our side, and there's a lot of opportunity to take advantage of locating these devices wherever, whenever, and then tying that information back to use from demographics, psychographics in order to make sure that we're reaching the right people in order to grow our database and then communicate with those people throughout the year. So first party data is going to be a really important step forward for us this year. And then just make sure that we're consistent in our communication across all consumer touch points. So that's really the foundation and goals that we're setting. We want to make sure that we continue to evolve the brand and content in the communication that we're reaching out, the messaging. I think really hit with our rebrand, which actually won an international award, which we're very proud of, and thanks to everybody in this room. But we want to make sure that we continue to evolve that, refine the messaging, make sure that we're getting the right messages in front of the right people. If somebody's interested in kayaking, we're showing them a kayaking opportunity. If it's a family, that wants to just take a break and relax or stroll downtown, we want to make sure that we have that content and that communication ready. So when we look at our media plan, again, it's going to be the overall approach is very simple, right? Hit the right people at the right time with the right message, right? And if we do that well, we'll continue to have success. And we have so many different opportunities and stories to tell within the destination. We want to make sure that we identify those types of people through a number of different opportunities. And again, cell phone data can provide us with that. We also look at their search history, their behaviors online, the types of content that they're used to reading. So we want to make sure we target the right individual, present them with the right message, and then invite them to come. So we really have two campaigns that will be throughout the year. So if you look at the top, it's the always on campaign. We never know when somebody might be interested in pursuing a vacation or a getaway or an opportunity to take a weekend away. So we want to make sure that we're out in the market during that time. So that's a little more lower funnel when we look at the decision-making process. We've got upper funnel, which is sort of inspirational. And then we've got lower funnel. That means they're closer to booking their potential vacation. So we want to be in market when they're actually looking for that vacation. So that starts in November. I think it actually starts this week, as a matter of fact, and goes through the end of August, which essentially mirrors the fiscal year that we're working with. And then we infuse additional dollars during our spring summer campaign, because we know that's an opportunity for this area, right, to get into some of the springs and cool down a little bit and spend some time here walking around, especially with families, right? They're usually off during that time, either spring break or summer break. We want to make sure that we're in market in order for them to plan their vacation. When we look at the target markets that we go after, obviously we need to be smart with dollars that we're investing to recruit or to invite that visitor here. So we can't be everywhere all the time. So we have to be very selective on where we're going. So we look at that 4 to 6 hour drive radius. And I think if all of you, as you plan your vacations, if you're driving to a destination, probably 4 or 6 is about that window. Otherwise, you would probably most likely fly. There are other circumstances for sure. So we look at those markets. We typically hit them digitally because we can be much more efficient with our media spend when we're going after them from a digital standpoint. So that's both online, email marketing, and cell phone, social media, et cetera. Then when we look at the spring summer campaign, again, we're going to mirror those same geographic markets, but also maybe shift a little bit more towards families during the summer, obviously, because kids are on summer break. So the demographics change a little bit. The website, right? I think there's a massive opportunity to continue to update content on the website. So we'll continue to do that throughout the year. Just hearing about the lacrosse event coming up, there's opportunities to maybe expand the capabilities of the website. So we'll talk with Clint and Michelle about that in order to make sure that people are finding the right information if they're coming to Lake City or Columbia County, that we have all the hotels listed, that the booking process is very easy. We want to create the least path of resistance as they're deciding on where they're going to stay. So I think there's some opportunities to create some additional applications on the website. Make sure everything's up to date, make sure all the events are posted and up to date, right? We've got some, obviously with the holidays, there's a number of them coming up. I actually just checked this morning because I wanted to make sure everything's hitting correctly and it was live. And then make sure that, this is such a beautiful place. I think we've got a unique piece of Florida here. You look at some of the photography that's in this room, we want to make sure that we're showcasing the destination and how beautiful it actually is. We want to make sure that content is updated. I missed public relations. So the way that we approach public relations is PR. We've got some individuals on our staff that have been doing destination public relations for 25, 30 years. So relationships matter in this business, and which isn't much different than most businesses. So they have relationships with the right publications and with the right writers, editors, freelance writers to help get the Columbia County, the Florida Springlands and Lake City story told. So now that's a relationship, right? We pitch them an opportunity. They put that story in their paper, in their magazine, and that's really at no cost to us other than the effort put forward. So this is sort of the non-paid efforts. So it really can expand our message. So when we look back at the media that we're actually spending in those geographic markets, those 4 to 6 hours, we can't reach places like Chicago or New York or maybe even some places out west. But there's an opportunity to get the story told in through public relations in those publications that are in those types of markets. So it really helps us expand our messaging and the reach that we have throughout the year. When we look at social media, really, we've got an entire team at the agency that's dedicated to social media. So it's management and maintenance, right? So we're responding, we're interacting with those individuals that are seeing our message. We want to make sure that we're engaging with them so they engage with us, that we're promoting, we're putting out relevant content that's appropriate to them. As you think about your own sort of social media habits, it's really easy to flip through very quickly. So we want to make sure that we create sort of thumb-stopping imagery and videos that get them to stop, maybe dig a little bit deeper, and then actually engage with the content. And then we have the whole behind-the-scenes data and understanding how we can best target when is the best time to post, who should this message be directed to, and what is that story that we're trying to tell. Again, really quick 30,000 foot overview on the marketing strategy for this year. It's not too different, honestly, than what we did last year. Slight tweaks, right? We pivot, we purge on things that maybe we didn't do quite as well, and then we proceed and amplify on the efforts that we know had success. We had success last year. I think it's a wonderful foundation, so we're going to continue to grow on that. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Do you have any questions for Chris?
Just one great presentation. Thank you very much. I was just kind of thinking about the potential to pull information out of visitors that come here. You know what I mean? And maybe this is a goal for a future year. Maybe you're already doing this, or just do you have any comments? Like, if we have 600 people coming for the lacrosse tournament, how cool would it be to actively engage with them, incentivize them to give us some feedback on what would make their stay better. You know what I mean? How could we improve on welcoming them to Columbia County better? You know what I mean? And maybe that's already being done, but I just want to kind of throw that out there. It's something that jumped in my mind.
No, that's a excellent suggestion. In historically, maybe another destination, Michelle, maybe you could jump in, but we have done things like that, whether it's an email survey to our own database. Those are people that have subscribed and want to hear information, so we can reach out to them and they can provide that feedback that way. We can do social media polls that also do that. A little different to determine if when they visited or when they've been here from a social media standpoint, or an exit survey as part of a follow-up after the event, sort of an after an event report. That could be a part of that.
Get something set up so we kind of know.
And we have done that in a couple of our state tournaments. On the registration card that we get to the tournament promoter or to the event promoter, it fills out on there, what hotels you're staying in, what do you plan on doing while you're here. So a lot of times it's hard for people to fill that out, because they're coming and going. But we get enough feedback that the other data that Rudy spoke about a minute ago, they're going to be able to pull, if you swipe your credit card, at Zappa downtown while you're here for the event, they can look at the peak in that usage during that time period. So that'll help us also to see where they're going in the community during a certain event.
Yeah, we may not be able to see the exact transaction at that particular store, but we can group it. Grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, hotels. We'll have an understanding of an impact at any given time period that we want to dig into in order to see that type of return.
I think that's great to have some of that quantitative data, you know what I mean? And by no means am I saying we're not doing a good job or anything. I think we're doing a great job. I was just my thought process coming into this new is, how can we always kind of continually thinking about getting that qualitative, it's subjective, and there's some people like my wife, Neil, that would fill out a comment card after staying in a bad hotel or whatever, you know what I mean? But
hopefully a good hotel too, right?
That's right. And, or, hey, I wish I'd have known about that cornhole tournament, you know what I mean? Or, just getting that, that feedback is really important to driving your strategy going forward. I'm just trying to kind of state that, as being important.
Absolutely. And sometimes, in some ways it can be rocket science, but if you do the basics pretty well, right, now that Chris is on board, just allowing those channels of communication to happen, it's amazing what you can accomplish.
Okay, well, really, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great presentation, and we'll move on. Clint?
Next thing we have here, many of you probably remember the ultimate catch that was discussed. They were going to film some fishing opportunities around the county, and it's actually going to be broadcasted on a couple different networks. The original deal for this that you guys approved was a $7,500 deal for 2 episodes. We had some issues. Some stuff that went on in the past that didn't get followed through with. The man doing the ultimate catch, there were some issues there with him following through with some requests that was done. So I finally reached out to him and nailed him down. And but I want to update you guys. We are filming. Actually, we're supposed to be filming some this week. We're only going to do 1 episode instead of the 2. So the money that he's already been paid is all that he's going to get. So the original $7,500 that you guys approved, he's only going to get half of that. So I just want to make you aware of that. But it's going to be broadcasted. He's sending us the information on 2 different platforms, on some outdoor channels and all that. He'll be fishing on the Santa Fe River. So to promote Columbia County, he's got all of our logos. It'll be a good deal, but it just won't be to the extent that was originally approved because of some lack of communication. But we got it ironed out with him. It'll be one Like I said, one filming, but it'll be broadcast on 2 different platforms. So I just want to update you guys on that. Any questions on that? All right, the next thing I have on here is the regional sports park update, flat field facility. We talked briefly a little while ago about the funding on that. Obviously during the hurricanes and everything, the last presentation we were supposed to have a couple months ago didn't happen because of that. Unfortunately, Jason's house and property got damaged pretty severely, with the hurricane. So he wasn't able to be here, but long story short, the $750,000 in the money that the match that you guys approved today to move forward with, we're starting the engineering, layout, surveying, and stuff for phase 1. We'll have a better update after the first of the year, after I speak back with Jason and some of the steps moving forward to get all this rolling. We'll have to do an RFQ or an RFP. I got to get with purchasing on that. Anytime our contract, we can't just give it to a local engineer because of the amount of the project. So we'll have to do that step and we can move forward with it. But that's where we are right now with the flat fields. Huge interest, this lacrosse stuff. I mean, people are asking Chris, hey, when are y'all gonna have this done? I know Lane and Allen both are dealing with people, that want to come to Lake City. They've heard about this facility, what are you guys doing? I've worked with Chris a little bit, hopefully with some future partnerships, with some other, agencies to do some other things on the property. So we're really, there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes that, you don't see it until you actually break ground. But there's a lot of moving parts to the 500 acres. It is moving forward. So I just wanted to kind of give y'all a quick update on that. And again, after the first of the year, we have some more stuff ironed out with what farm will be doing, some of the survey and layout, and I'll be able to give you a better update on that. Any questions on that? Okay, next thing on here is board member updates. Mr. Coon obviously will not be participating because he's actually taking another job venture. But we do have Miss Catherine Terry. Thank you for being here today. We asked if she could be here today to kind of observe and see what's going on. Michelle and I will meet with her after the meeting and go over some of the criteria of what the board members, do and all that. She'll be representing the town of Fort White as that municipality representative. So we'll be glad to have you on the board come January. She'll be a sitting member up here and hopefully help keep a quorum going. So that'll be a good thing. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On board member updates also, when you guys approved the bylaws this past year, there was a couple alternates that were added in there, which we've never had before. We've got some people that's showing interest in that. I'm working with HR right now to see if we advertise as alternate positions the same way that we do the board positions, because there are some steps for applications and stuff that have to be filled out. So we do have some people interested in that. So hopefully after the first of the year, we'll be wide open with full board members and alternates and all that. But again, we'll update after the first year with all that. With the holidays coming up, it slows some of that stuff down. But hopefully come January, we will have a full board, so that'll be a good thing. Any questions on that?
What? Yes, sir. What was your name again?
Catherine Terry.
Hey, Miss Terry.
Hey,
Welcome aboard.
thank you.
Okay, next thing I have is employee updates. We're working on several different levels there. Obviously, y'all get tortured, me being an intern for a little while longer. But we do have a marketing position advertised right now, which many of you know Kim held that position when she was here. We're very fortunate and, welcoming Chris on board, a great asset to the team to handle our sports marketing side of it. And Chris is taking off and running. He's got a lot of stuff in the works. A lot of contacts been made, a lot of new stuff moving forward. And he'll go over some of the stuff that he's working on with the websites and all that when he gets up here. But Chris, again, welcome, proud to have you on the team. And we'll move forward with that. Probably the director position, we're looking at the job description now, to make sure that everything's in there that needs to be in there. And then we'll look at probably advertising that after the holidays because it's hard to get advertisements out and get people looking at things during the holidays. So probably right after the holidays, we will advertise for the director position and try to move forward with that. So, that's all I have on the employee updates. Any questions on any of that? All right, yeah. All right, Michelle, looks like you're up.
I'm gonna touch upon some of the stuff that we kind of went over, in his presentation, with our public relations metrics. In the month of September, we had 10 total placements with a combined total impression of over 449 million, an estimated ad value of 4.1 million. These earned media, 3 of the most prominent features were in travel and leisure, explore, and Atlas Obscura. Social media. So for Facebook and Instagram, we are down, but that is due to the hurricanes. Again, we paused all of our social media and advertising during that time. So all of our decreases align with having to pause September through October. We have since restarted our advertising efforts, so we expect to see our performance return to pre-hurricane levels. The website. So while our social media and our other advertising was paused, we continue to see an increase in our users for the website. We received 7.1 thousand new users, the majority of which came from organic search. Mobile device users, they continue to be our top users to the website. Highlights from our website data include our top pages for September that were activities and attractions, springs, and lakes. Additionally, Miami was the top city for visitors to our website in September. We do not typically see Miami as one of our top 5 cities. So we are keeping an eye on how that translates for October and November. I'd like to update everyone though, like Rudy, he talked about the changes to the website. I've been working with Paradise, with our team. There are quite a bit of changes that are coming to the website. We have old content that's going to be replaced. We have new content. We are updating like the pictures, not just the content, but the pictures. And the biggest change will be the calendar and how it functions on the website. Moving into the calendar, speaking on that, I have always been the one who handles this calendar. I send this out through an app called Mailjet, and it gets sent out. I'm able to put pictures, and this is just like a small portion of what is included in that calendar. This has been a pet project of mine since 2015. And it has completely grown from what it was when I used to do it when I first moved here. Through Mailjet, I'm able to put photos. So any posters or flyers that anyone has, I spend quite a bit of time gathering all these events and entering into my calendar. And then I take those photos that I can locate and I put those into this, and it allows me to send it out. I think I'm up to 192 people. So if you're not receiving this, please let me know. I'll be happy to add you to the Mailjet blast that I send out. I normally do that the first of every month. It has a lot of information on it. If you ever have any questions or you have events that you don't see on there, please email me, call me. I will be happy to. That's it, my report.
Thanks, man. Chris, we've been holding out to the young man. He got forward.
Cool. Just a couple updates on, hazard, obviously there's before I got here, there were two events scheduled for Southside, and one of the main ones I wanted to back is also because again, build a relationship is super huge, especially in this kind of community. And it's going to be coming back. First of which was Special Olympics that came here. Super Jews go back here in September. They loved everything. They loved the facility. I think also, and what mainly outside of the facility is that they love the support, even though it probably wasn't as much as in my mind that they should have had, but they still love the support just because they're not used. Most of the places that they go into is, which if you don't know Special Olympics, they have a big thing down in Disney. It's a whole show. Like they pay for all their stuff. But, obviously they depend on different communities and regions whenever they're hosting their smaller events, this and that. And most of what was described to me, most of the times when they go into different places in the county, it's pretty much turnkey. They open the gate and there you go. So they set up the small little middle school things or whatever they can, and then they try to put on the best event possible. When they came here, it was like a red carpet. They came here, we opened the gate, we have, just like an event we hosted for any kind of travel ball sort of situation, or, whatever. They had the field line that came here with flag football and softball. Fields were lined in between each game. We always had the fields lined for flag football. We had, bodies in there facilitating, make sure trash, everything was going the way it was supposed to, and the event ran. And, helped them unload the whole night. They were over them. Loved it. And like I said, kind of working again with that relationship, talking to them, actually meeting with them tomorrow because they're coming back next year. They're coming back next year, and the whole goal is to make it bigger than this year. So a big issue is that usually when they do their seasons, it's hard to host multiple events in one area. So one person might get, softball, another person might be flag football. It just goes off their stuff and what the counties or wherever they're going to them to do. And I already told them, like, bigger the better, let's do it, So they're actually bringing 4 sports to us next year at the one time, one day, so they can run it together. It'll be flag football, softball again, as well as pickleball and weightlifting. So not only will they be utilized in Southside Rec, we're also going to be trying to utilize the community center too. I've already talked to Mr. Chris over there, definitely get them in there. So events like that, they're definitely looking for those places. They love it when they're able to host multiple in one day because then it cuts down how many places they have to coordinate with volunteers and this and that. So, they've been currently sending stuff, but they kind of ramp it up, trying to make sure they get enough volunteers and everything to go through. So they're sending me stuff, and I've been kind of sharing it to the school, making sure, again, once we get our social media, we'll be on there. They can get the help that they need volunteer wise to set it up. But again, it kind of leans back on, it's something great, might not necessarily be they're back there usually one day, so it has nothing to do with the bed tax. I'm sorry, that kind of hurts some interest, but their bigger thing's going to be in Disney. They're going to have the fireworks and Mickey Mouse is running around the parades, the whole 9 yards. But in terms of one, just being a great thing to do and be around, it is 100% the best you could possibly do. Secondly, again, also, if you did want to have some kind of benefit to us, obviously promotion. Obviously, again, if they come here, they're here. We got a new toy that with the little electronic thing that they want to do, and they did the logo in the middle of the rec fields and whatnot. They had a great showing with the torch coming in with the sheriff officers and stuff like that. It was a cool deal. I think there's pictures on there too to show it. But like I said, they had a great time and they enjoyed it. And when we meet tomorrow, the whole deal of, hey, how can we make it better? How can we put a shine on? How can we, obviously show what they're doing, but also again, opening the door for Columbia County, because this is what we have to offer. This is what we're doing. And, and just kind of promote that. So 100% knocked that apart, A++ on this event. And again, too, that social media presence, I wish it would have kind of been up and going, because, those things definitely would have hit. The next thing I want to talk about is the photo that, again, goes back to the social media and stuff like that. It definitely is in dire need of being updated. So, partnered with the local photographer. That's her name. Set like 15 different directions. It's different ways, but it is capture memories by Esther. I think I've switched it around 3 or 4 times. That's to capture memories all over. But get a great photographer. Just a lot of the stuff for seniors around here. Obviously, Kevin Ford, so I know she knows a lot of action shots for CrossFit things and things like that. So the picture was definitely a good picture. And these are just kind of some of the snippets from it. She has a group of 40 that she's going to edit for us. We'll edit and us that. But again, we have a bunch of over 400 pictures now that we're able to utilize it and put out and kind of pick up on the social media, not just, so some of them are local things, but again, it's about the life in the parks. You know, when you're coming here and she went and she definitely knocked out of the park, hit all aspects of it. Sadly, you know, we tried to do it on a weekend where we had softball going on, so that tournament for girls ended up canceling on us. And so they weren't able to, but baseball was still here with a large one, and we also had adult softball, but you know, she did a great job of capturing the life in the park, capturing the kids playing, the families at the concession stands, you know, the games, you know, the whole life of it. Again, 400 pictures. It was a great deal, and all that's going to do is go back into updating our websites, updating our social medias, and this and that. Because truthfully, on some of the stuff that when you search up, Columbia County is very low. You know, especially when you're going to some of those sports destination websites and everything, where it's, you know, pretty much about our fields, and when you click on it, it's the address for this building. This has nothing to do with playing baseball. You know, so they don't care about this nice facility. They want to see the clay. They want to see the grass. And again, if they can't, then it's kind of like, okay, we'll go somewhere else. But again, the whole campaign has been about just kind of revamping that stuff. It's going to be great. So the next couple of weeks, that stuff will start getting up and getting going. And again, as bigger events come here in the near future, obviously, this won't be a forever thing, but as the bigger events come here, such as the Nike tournaments and the bigger things, getting it back out there to get more updated pictures, better pictures of different events that can be held here at our facilities. You know, again, it's just kind of building to the brand. The next thing, the sports calendar. It was super busy, but to give you a quick little date, this is just September when I got here through December. There was, I think, a total of 21 events. Well, 22, we'll count the Nike showcases in there. 16 youth softball, or 16 softball, that's 10 youth, 6 adult, and 6 baseball events that's happened since September. Super busy. In that time, 5 events were canceled, 2, which is where obviously the case category 5. Hurricane coming through here and blew us away. But again, 2, it was only a quick shutdown, and when the hurricane came, obviously we were shut down for a few days, a couple of weeks, so we had to cancel that second one. And then we were back up and running. So these tournaments that are back in here, they're going. Our local people was super happy. They were able to get our local leagues back going in the park, which gives some people were chomping at the bit. But the fences are up. Our Park Alliance did a great job getting the fields back utilized, getting them safe. And I know there's still improvements that's going to be happening, obviously, and they're just correcting some of the storm stuff. But right now we're fully functional and they're going. Yeah, and then there was one event that was rescheduled, which was a local event. I think it was a benefit that they didn't have the turnout that they wanted to on the sign up, so they rescheduled it for next year. And then just a couple of special mentions again, obviously for next year. Again, we'll go over that later on. And again, I did hit the ground running, threw out a lot of hats, a lot of thinking contests up in that. Obviously, Special Olympics are coming back. They're super juiced. Then we have just kind of reestablished certain contact with other organizations like Babe Ruth on the baseball side of it, bringing a T-ball and a rookie tournament here this summer. USA weightlifting, they're going to, or not weightlifting, sorry, talking to them, but USA softball, which again will bring a couple smaller events, but also do college showcases to us next summer, 1 and 2 day, 1 and 3 day. I'll get more information about that later on. And right now we're working on getting the big 7-on-7 adult tournament in the works for March. It's again, that's another, I say adults are obviously coming, and 60 plus teams. I think each team has around 10 to 12 people. So we got a lot of room nights generated, a lot of things happening. So, which you'll probably get some more information. I think they're actually going to fill out stuff for a grant too pretty soon. But again, too, it's just a lot of stuff that's coming, a lot of phone calls, maybe a lot of things going. This is just like the tip of the iceberg. There's more stuff that's going out. It's going to be coming back to us. So look for great things. I think that's, yeah, it's pretty much.
Appreciate it, Chris. Looks like you've been a little busy. Yeah. And we appreciate it. And with that being said, open public comments. Anybody have anything to like to say? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Fairley?
Hi, nice to see y'all again. 13 years, we're still open. Thank you, you get real quick. And since y'all have spoken so much about kayaking or paddle sports, here we are. Paddle sports are us. So we are on the Santa Fe River, as many of you know, maybe some of you don't know that we're still there. We're also a dealer in kayaks and canoes. And want to let you know with the idea is that you were just discussing, we are a new canoe dealer. So the tournament for the fifth person that wanted to be on the water, we have new canoes, and that's usually what the fishermen want, or fisher people want. So I just want to also let you know, you're gonna have to pass this to your friend next to you, because that's all I have left. We participated in many events this weekend that showcased our business in Alachua County. If we'd like to do that more in this county, we probably will. We go out of the business and we take a tent and we put up our equipment and our kayak sales and promote our activities in other markets, which is a new thing that we've been doing for like 2 years. My staff loves to do it. They love to come in and set up all of their gear and have everybody drool over this stuff, because it's pretty exciting. So the other card that I just sent out, we do have a Mermaid Fest. That's really why I'm standing in front of you today. We're doing a Mermaid Fest on January 29th, and it is a makers Mermaid Fest. So we're attracting the sewers, the makers, the tiaras, the stuff around the bands, the tails. And then also we have mermaids, social media mermaids, influencers that we work with that are going to be there on premises taking photographs, and we'll be doing bus trips back and forth to the park. They'll be taking photographs at Rhode Island Park. I'm not here to ask for any money. I'm just letting you know it's International Mermaid Day. And so what I'm hoping is that when I make my rounds between High Springs, Fort White, and Bell, and Trenton even, is that all governments get involved some way with their local things that they promote through Chamber of Commerce or whatever, and maybe offer some sort of mermaid kitsch in their business, especially because people buy that stuff and they buy it. So that's one thing. On the backside is that information that I sent out. There's 3 of them left after we gave all of them away this weekend. It is our Sunday Fun Day event page. We do a soft promotion a lot with the Sunday Fun Day events, which are supposed to be the farmer market. Farmer market is totally suffering because of the hurricane. A lot of food left out there in the fields, or at least I'm not getting them in my market. I am getting the makers. We love makers. So we do combine that now. Instead of in the morning, we're having that now from 1 to 5 when we combine it with our music. We have music every Sunday from 2 to 5, and it's an outdoor kind of mellow event. Buy soda, buy a beer, and then we have a food vendor on premises that also, it's kind of a hangout. It feels like Key West a little bit, but it's not. It's Rhode Island. It's Rhode Island a little bit, and that's where we're located, up in front of Rhode Island Terrace down in the park. So just want to let you all know, and I'm going to be giving you all those updates. And the song contest with our Santa Fe River, if they go through with it, and I hope they do, they're deciding that soon, will be the following day, the day after Mermaid Fest, which I think will also kind of solidify those 2 events separately, because we don't want to be overnight camping. We don't do that anymore. We found that our business operates better in a 9 to 5 kind of situation. This is a 9 to 7 kind of situation with these types of events. And that way everybody goes home and the neighborhood is happy. So that's all I wanted to share with you. Thank you for allowing me to give you all that. And I hope you think of us when you do these paddle trips, not just the Itch a Trucking, because I did go to the website again. I still don't know where we're at. I don't know where we're on the website.
That is being worked on.
Thank you.
That is one of my things that I have sent through the Paradise. We actually have estimates on all of that.
It's slow. It's a slow time of year for the river, which we love. This is the best time to be on the river, especially if you're local. And the other thing is we nuance that the summer times, as you all learned recently, because we get too many people. So our business kind of nuances that. And you do group outings, you can do discounts for your events. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is the event again?
Mermaid Fest is March 20th. Sunday, Fun Day is every day until May, because summer is too hot to do these events outside. The Sunday Fun Day every day from October to May.
And Marilee, just work with Michelle, and then we'll have you do get the dates up.
Love it, because mermaids need hotels. For real. These attract a lot of people, these mermaid events. It's a big thing. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I was just add, I was sworn to secrecy, but during the Mermaid Festival, they will be raffling off a mermaid. So I think everybody should know that.
I'm sure you're gonna buy them out on raffle.
I don't know.
Okay, nobody else, any TDC members have comments?
I got one comment if I could. Mr. Cole, that's your boy, they look like he hit the ground running. However, they're gonna bring a Nike, sporting event here, make sure you don't have on. Yeah. Let's get it.
I've got a couple of things here. I'm sure some of you guys, you're riding up down the interstate. You probably noticed that our interstate signs are not in good shape. Thank you to the hurricanes. I've already got 2 contractors that are looking at them. The new billboard that we just rebuilt from the previous hurricane got scattered all up and down the side of the highway. So, that one has to be rebuilt again. Well, we're working with insurance and all of that. And then we had some damage to the top of the big sign, which they were looking at yesterday. They're thinking some of the vinyls just came unclipped, but we won't know that until we get up there. But we are aware that the signs are damaged. We're working on them now. So hopefully those will be back up and going here pretty soon. The only other thing I had, I just want to thank Michelle and Chris. I've put a lot on these guys, you know, with us not having, you know, full-time people in all the jobs. They're both doing stuff in their jobs that normally they wouldn't have to. I think Michelle's been wearing about 4 hats here lately. But I just want to let them know I appreciate it, and we're working hard to try to get everything back in order. But that's all I have.
Clint, real quick, during the hurricane, you know, we've seen all the devastation of Fort White and of course, south side, where are we at with the reconstruction down there at Fort White? I know, I've seen a lot of houses torn to pieces.
Yeah, actually, to let you know what Mr. Murphy's talking about, at Southside, we had pretty much every outfield fence was laying flat on the ground after hurricanes. Had a lot of roof damage on several of the buildings that's currently being worked on now. The South Columbia complex in Fort White, we lost several of the dugout roofs, the shade structures that are over the bleachers. Most of them were ripped out of the concrete, and tumbled down, but I had a contractor yesterday, putting together a quote. And those were all special engineered, special construction. It's not like you can just go to a local place and buy them. So, I got the engineer that originally engineered those, working me up a price on what it's gonna take to replace them. And our netting, company, you don't really notice it unless you're out there, but I got a quote yesterday, $57,000 worth of net damage, from the hurricanes. Southside, at Southside and a couple at Fort White. So, we do have a quote back on that, get the PO done on that now so we can get all that stuff repaired, but everything's back up and functioning. It's just some of the areas, if you're sitting in the dugout, you may not have a roof over you, but the field's all in good shape and the fences are back up, so we're back to playing ball.
Good deal. If nobody else has anything, our next meeting will be January the 15th, and, for those of you I probably won't see, enjoy your Thanksgiving and your Christmas coming up, and, hope you and your family stay safe too at that time. We are adjourned.